Hello again, and welcome to the 11th video in our Connect Me series of Resource Pack 3, Celebrate Your Street Together. This time we're going to be looking at the question, when to ask for help, which sounds like a significant moment when you're in your creative process. You realize that things need something more than just creativity and commitment. So in the unit you use the phrase asset. So what does that mean and how do I do it?
Yes, asset-based community development is a thing. ABCD, it's a thing that's favoured certainly by our local authorities down here in Devon. And one of its tenets is that actually everything that you need really is already there. Everything that you need on your street is probably already there. Most things you will find that can be upcycled, recycled, reused, begged, borrowed, not stolen. You will find that the skills and the talents and the understandings on your street will be extraordinary. People are already finding this. We're already, an awful lot of community getting together and doing stuff is already working, and a lot of it is based on this notion that it's already there if you look for it. And that is absolutely the way that Interwoven and the Schoolinator work, and we would recommend that you work. Don't spend money on it unless you possibly and there will be another unit to talk about raising funds if you need to. However, there may be some things that you want to raise funds for and ask for a little bit more help.
So how do I know when I need to ask for help?
Yeah,
because sometimes you find yourself sort of in the midst of something and suddenly it's just like, oh my gosh, I don't know where I am anymore. I've lost my ability to quite move forwards from here. So how do I know when can I prevent that? How do I know when to ask for help?
Yeah. We thought about that, and we've come up with a list of moments when you might want to use as a trigger for that, as a baseline to go back and check. And so I'm going to share screen. Slightly cross-eyed moment. Here we go. And I've got the list from the unit here. So the times when you might think, oh, I want this to be as good as it really, really can be. And that's if it's a permanent fixture in the landscape. So rather than a tea party that's an ephemeral event that's going to happen and go away, if you're actually making an interpretation board or a mural or a mosaic, something that's going to stay and represent you for a long, long time, there might be, and you can't find that definite expertise on your street, then that might be a trigger. That might be a moment where you can say, actually, we really do want this to be as good as it absolutely possibly can be. We've already mentioned the oral history recordings because of that responsibility for the recording and the keeping of that data and the use of that data. And again, we've mentioned safeguarding, haven't we? So those moments when, it would be quite nice to work with all the kids on this street, but I don't really feel comfortable about managing that. How can we do that with another group? So that might be a moment. And something that might be printed and distributed widely. So some of our groups have done wonderful trail guides that take people all over the city or all over their area. Other people have done it just for one street. Wamford Street has got its own trail guide, all up one side and down the other, absolutely beautifully produced, but they got a little bit of help with the graphic setting for that. So you may find that skills on your street, you might want to buy that in terms of the printing. So those are some of the triggers.
Okay. So some of those things sound like they could be expensive, but also this idea of payment. Who needs to be paid?
Yeah, We've had experience of working with experts who are quite happy to do that on a voluntary basis. So you'll find experts who do things as outreach. It's not one of my favourite words. I don't like people coming outreaching at me, but the useful thing about outreach is if someone from the university is in an outreach team, then the chances are they'll come and give you expert help and guidance, and that will be part of their job.
Mm-hmm.
So they're being paid, they've got a salary, but they're also being paid to outreach in a way that will help the community. So that person doesn't need to be paid. There will be other people who are providing a service, and that is their main form of payment. So if you're asking a company to set up an interpretation board, and that's the work that they do, that's their job, then the chances are you'll need to raise funds and pay for that, for the creation of that interpretation board. Likewise with creatives, you may find creatives on your street who can do everything that you need to do. So when I say creatives, I mean actors, I mean directors, I mean graphic artists, musicians, dancers. You may have it all there. If you don't, they probably are not getting paid, certainly in terms of COVID climate.
No.
They're barely eating, let's face it. So yeah, I would absolutely say if you're bringing in creatives to put that wonderful professional gloss on what you're doing, then that's the kind of person you need to find some funds to make sure that they're paid.
Okay, thank you.